The Cabildo Museum is emblematic of the New Orleans French Quarter and a crown jewel in Louisiana's State Museum collection. It's one of the state's most photographed buildings, where New Orleans past and present converge. I'm taking you on a tour of the museum to discover why the Cabildo attracts international dignitaries from presidents to royalty as an ambassador for Louisiana's art, culture, and history. Musicians and tourists mingle on a typical day in front of the Cabildo Museum, a popular attraction and gathering spot in the French Quarter's Jackson Square. It's one of the most photographed buildings in Louisiana, where New Orleans past and present converge.
It's really one of the greatest objects, if not the greatest objects, in our collection. This is such an important edifice, not only in New Orleans history, but for the whole region.
Stephen McClansky is our tour guide as we walk these hallowed halls, retracing the footsteps of famous people and pivotal moments in history.
This is one of the most significant historic rooms and one of the most historic and significant buildings in the city. In 1803, this was a place where some of the transfer papers that sort of executed the Louisiana Purchase took place right here, right in this space. And similarly, this was also once the home for the Louisiana Supreme Court. And in this very space is where the Plessy versus Ferguson case was adjudicated right here.
Over the years, the Cabildo has hosted many dignitaries and royals. In recent history, French President Emmanuel Macron and the King and Queen of Spain.
Right out these windows, for example, President Harrison, when he visited New Orleans, gave his hello to the adoring crowds below. And similarly, General Lafayette, the Marquis de Lafayette, one of the great heroes of the American Revolution, when he returned to the city on his grand tour in 1825, he also addressed and welcomed the crowds from those very doors.
The Cabildo gets its name from the Spanish word for council and dates back to 1795, built under Spanish rule. The Cabildo served as the center of New Orleans government before burning to the ground in 1788. It was rebuilt and in 1908 became a Louisiana State Museum. The Cabildo caught fire again in 1988, closing for renovations until 1994. Today, the building features 3 floors of exhibits. This second floor focuses on Louisiana's history, including the Battle of New Orleans. The ground floor is an homage to New Orleans, with memorabilia tied to Crescent City nostalgia. And the third floor showcases limited-run exhibits, such as this retrospective by artist Hunt Slonim. He's known for his signature bunny rabbit paintings.
I often say that a museum is a place where history and legacy intersect. We're looking back, but we're also thinking about our future. And one of the ways to do that is to analyze our present. And since Hunt Slonim is such an important contemporary artist, those 3 parts fit together quite well. So he's famous for his bunnies and his butterflies, and though featured in this exhibition are some extraordinary landscapes that he's done of New Orleans and of Louisiana.
The Cabildo attaches to another historic structure called the Arsenal, which hosts changing exhibits. And on the day we visited, there are works on display by New Orleans photographer George Monnier and self-taught Louisiana folklore painter Clementine Hunter.
We have an interesting little highlight to the show as well, because not only is the room filled with the authentic works of Clementine Hunter, but there's an interesting story to be told about some elaborate forgeries which were made about her work, but uncovered by the FBI.
More than 2 centuries later, the Cabildo attracts a crowd for its Spanish colonial architecture and French Quarter energy, standing next to its architectural twin, the Presbytère, and alongside St. Louis Cathedral. Together, they are a trio of National Historic Landmarks and enduring symbols of Louisiana.